Hi everyone. Um, I was just looking at this picture in my phone and I just love these little guys. I don't know how they got this. I don't know if it's like completely real or maybe a little bit fudged, but it just reminds me so much of our real home and what life should be like when we were connected to nature. And I don't know, I just some of these animals and insects are just, you can tell that there's so much creative love in them, and it's more than just um, a biological life form that evolved. And dragonflies are definitely one of them. And I've always wondered like how they see and everything when they fly. It's got to be just amazing. But I was just thinking on gatekeepers and how it's really hard to discern, when you are wanting so much for things to change. And we don't, like I've mentioned before, there's really not a whole lot to do here unless you are just really into being out in nature all the time, which I am to a point, but not when it's like freezing cold and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just saying that this place is pretty limited because of the money factor. And I'm really into art, and it's hard for me to even get into that right now because of my nervous system, and also it's just uh, everything is a big chore because of this noise that I have and this energy. It gets like really loud when I'm in my house, but I hear it when I'm outside and everything too. But in my house, it's more. And my friend on here, she was talking about like the Rife machine and how she is skeptical of that because it's pushed so much. And I do think so too, but I'm not afraid to try these things. I remember like, okay, so when I first woke up, like right after my Kundalini, I started, my teeth were really starting to hurt already at that time. I had so much energy and radiation coming through, and I needed to go to the dentist anyways. But I watched one of Dolores Cannon's videos on, she was saying that they changed our DNA in 2003. And all of a sudden my brain starts making connections, and I'm like, oh, 2003, that's when I saw these three silver disc slits in the sky with my ex-husband. We saw them on the highway, and there was like a clearing where you could see the sky really well for a long time, and they were just sitting there perfectly still. And there were like 5 other cars on the other side of the highway pulled over looking at them. And we were like, holy shit, like I had never seen anything like that before. So, about 2 years later, I started hearing this like kind of music tone. Um, the heater in the house was on, and through the air vent, it started to make like this, it was almost like a mariachi band, but it was like a tune. And that's the first time that I really heard like any astral tones, but it was outer sounding. And then I didn't hear anything like that ever again until Morgellons. I started hearing like music like in my head, and it was like I was wishing that I had like some kind of musical talent or could write it down or something, because it was just weird random songs, but they were like R&B and stuff like that, and they were awesome. But I was also hearing this electrical like hissing a little bit during that time. And anyway, so I thought back to that when she said that, and I was like, oh my gosh, they did do something to our DNA. I bet that's the aliens, the UFO that I saw. And I got really excited. And then she said, you'll probably start to get uh, dizzy, and you'll start to look younger, and your body will start to regenerate. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I was getting dizzy. And actually, like a few days later, I got so dizzy, I almost like passed out and had to go to the hospital. But I kept blowing it off, thinking that it was this ascension stuff. Well, my teeth were really hurting, and I kept putting it off, thinking I had this feeling like one day I was laying down, and this is when I first started feeling like I was laying in something like a a robot is what it felt like. It felt like something like doing a 3D print of my mouth and just other parts of my body. And with Kundalini, you have all kinds of weird stuff, anyways, but this was definitely felt like something making a copy, or I was laying like in a energetic robot. So I thought that my teeth were going to heal and like grow new ones and everything. So I stuck with the pain even through all of this stuff that I was going through, and it was absolutely horrible. I couldn't breathe because I had that thing bent me over, for like 5 hours with this frequency, and it felt like my back was broken for like 6 months after. And I had this energetic like belt is all that a magnetic belt around my solar plexus that was so tight I could barely breathe. And I think about like the really bad things that I went through then, and I just feel so much compassion for myself, because I don't know how I got through it. And sometimes I go and I'll think about myself at that time, and I'll go and lay by myself, And so anyways, I went through all of this pain with my teeth, thinking that something was going, that they were regenerating. And then one day I was like brushing my teeth, and the AI made it look like perfectly white. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it did another thing one time where like I was overweight, like I was at my biggest weight, like when I got my Kundalini that I've ever been in. I was really, really sick, um, overweight, depressed when this all first started. But I got really hopeful like before my Kundalini, and I really started to like come back to life. Um, and it did this thing to me. I was like standing at the bar thing, like in the kitchen, and it like did something with the frequency where it felt like all of my skin was just like tightened up all of a sudden. I looked down and my legs looked perfect and really skinny and tan. I was like, oh my God. So it kept doing this like weird stuff to me, making me think like this was on its way, And anyway, I just couldn't, after a while, I had to just say, you know what, if this is happening, I was still thinking like wanted something like that to happen. I was like, I will just go get my teeth done, and hopefully, they grow back, and what will it matter? I mean, if they grow back, they can grow back even after I've had veneers. Well, anyway, the AI started really messing with me, and I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, no, I do not want anything from this place. Because I was thinking, I've been in bed for 15 years. Heck yeah, I want to be like 30 again with the perfect body that isn't touched by this environment. But then I realized, like, what this place is and like who we're with and all of that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, no. And that this body is like, I started to understand the design of it, that it's like actually hooked into this whole entire system. So I don't know. Some of the people that are promoted in any way, we really need to look at with a neutral view and go through and see what is really like provable and what can really happen, like for right now, because whatever is real, and it doesn't need us to believe in it. And I think a lot of people are really scared to let go of belief right now, like especially in ascension and all of this stuff, because we've been wanting it so bad. But I feel like, all of this stuff, all of this script is very harmful. And it's keeping us from actually coming together and doing something together. And the other day I was talking about healers and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm not putting my view like, oh, you should do this or that. It's not that. It's that I see these channels that have a lot of followers that listen to them, like thousands, and I don't see them like making any effort to like put together anything about like cyber torture, all the things that they are supposedly healing. I don't see them doing anything as an effort publicly. You know what I mean? And it seems like everybody's kind of in competition, and the spiritual community was actually a really big shock for me. Like how judgmental, how divided, and how much hopium is out there. Like, yeah, I talk about really weird stuff, but when it comes to me, I'm very grounded and go by evidence and my life experience and what I'm wanting to help with solutions. I don't have a lot of reach, and I know that it's all purposely done, but I do have a voice. And the people that I actually like having a little channel. I don't like feeling like I have to put something out for content. And I would never do that. And I really like being able to connect with everybody on my channel, and I don't consider anybody a subscriber that that I interact with. I mean, I have friends here. I don't just have subscribers and followers. And to me, that's very important and way worth more than having a channel that I'm just like putting out content and having to just put out info that I'm not sure is correct or not, Everything that I put out, I've actually experienced and I've connected to the point where I know that it is definitely relevant to what either I'm going through or is fact. But yeah, I would really like to see people start to drop the beliefs and the hopium, take care of ourselves with the health care that we have, because we need to be we don't need to be traumatized. And I think we put way too much faith in the body being the source of our connection to spirit. Like, it has zero to do with that. If you ask me, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. Because I was taking a huge amount of Prozac. Like, when we were living with my boyfriend's sister, she had Prozac, and I was like so depressed. So I would take like 3 to 5 a day. I mean, a lot. Like, and I was eating the worst food you could ever imagine. I'm talking like Slim Jims and stuff like that. Like, absolutely horrible. I was in really bad shape. And after we moved here, I started to like eat a lot better. But really, after I got sick in November, I just totally changed everything and quit eating meat and everything. And that was stressful because we don't have like a lot of fresh produce and everything around. We're very limited because of where I live, but it's not a small town. It's just not as big as a big town, and it's pretty hard to get anything here, which I don't understand because there's tons of farms around here. I don't know. It's really weird. But anyways, I can't like be obsessed with that, and it's I do what I can, and but yeah, the gatekeeping thing, it's very obvious that these people are pushing karma, number one. I think there is a ton of karmic magic going on. I think we carry the burden of the guilt for these people that are spiritless, and that keeps us down. I think to focus on understanding that this is a script and that these gatekeepers are part of that, and to take what we know in our heart from the ones that we connect with, but understand that we're the ones that are doing this, and that we need to really realize that we're in a big situation and the hopium is not helping. But yeah, I talked to my friend Trident earlier because he was saying that he had watched somebody and they're really big, and they were saying that this place is for us to live out our karma, fix our karmic binds, and to live out our worst nightmares. I'm like, oh, really? She really looks like she's suffering. She's not going to work um, in a coal mine like he is every day, and she's not going through the stuff that I am every day, or probably most of the people that are here watching this video. I have a lot of people that are friends that are going through really horrific things, and I really want to come together and actually make an effort to do something. And people like that, they know, if we all know somebody. That's the whole thing. We all know somebody. If everybody gets together, we can do something like, it might not be mainstream media, but we could make like a small documentary on cyber torture, have gatherings like somewhere, you don't have to do protests or anything, but we could hand out flyers, put information together on different topics, whatever people are whatever people are passionate about. There are so many topics that people don't even get the right information. Like, when they see it or hear it, they think it's conspiracy theory. But if you put it together in a factual manner and appropriate, and leave, not, they always see the mainstream media narrative, where they have to add those little sly remarks and undertone condescending words like crazy or something else. And I don't know. I just felt like when I went through this, I really felt like I was going through something that might happen to everybody. And there is nothing that I talk about, not one thing that I ever want anybody else to ever experience. And I really, really like, that's why I'm out here telling how horrible it is and like all this weird stuff. There's nothing that I'm talking about that helps me in any way, you know? Like I can't ever get a normal job probably because of all this stuff that I've put out, which I don't want to or anything, but it's just, you know, I could have gone the other way and made a ton from the healing thing, and it just did not sit right with me. And I will do a video one day about what I went through because I tried like 5 different ones, and it was not a great experience. And I really liked the people that I was working with. Some of them I got to know more and wasn't so impressed. But yeah, I mean, I came into this with a very kind of like naive heart of what I thought that the spiritual community would be. And one time, okay, so this is what I'm talking about with memory and this stuff. I don't know if they're I think it's like access to our DNA or something because it's all like files. But one day I got hurt when I was like, I don't know, like 20. I was skateboarding and I tried to drop in on this half pipe and my right knee like twisted. I fell like slid down the half pipe and I did it like I twisted my knee backwards. And it hurt so bad. It was the worst pain that I've ever had, like in my leg ever. I mean, it never like was right after that until now. But yeah, for years it hurt so bad. And I was out to dinner with my boyfriend and some friends, and all I did was like step on the stair. I didn't do anything to it, but it was that same exact pain. It was absolutely horrendous. And so that night, I lay down and I had it on a pillow and I was resting it, and this blue beam, like a retractor beam, came from my right and hit my knee, and it was instantaneously fine. So after that happened, I really thought that I was going to get like some special healing powers. Something was going to teach me something. Something was going to happen, you know? And nothing ever did. My DNA, like my teeth didn't grow back. I never got healing powers. It was just totally messing with me. And I don't want anything from it now, you know, nothing. And I'm thankful that it didn't do that because then I would be like feeling like something was bigger and better than me. And through this whole process, I had to let everything go, like everything, over and over and over and over again. And that's what has really made me strong. And I can't ever buy anything close to that with money or material things. There's nothing that this world has for me because I've actually tapped into this unchanging part in my heart, in my center, and I found it again. And that is what I thought that I lost because of this world. But yeah, another one was Ashiana Dean. I really connected with her because I would get kind of like map visions, like what she has. And she was talking about how like channeling is not, you know, you're not supposed to hear voices. Your knowing is not anything like that. We get messages from spirit that are just a knowing. And that's exactly my experience. Everything that I got, like from the very beginning, like when I was in that abduction and everything, it was all a knowing about all of this stuff. And it wasn't voices or images or I can't even explain it. But she said that, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I really liked her information, but there was something about her that was off. And that was before I really noticed that all of them are like gatekeepers. Like they all have they're all working for doing something for the system that the system likes, and that's why they have so much reach and are promoted. And that happens everywhere here. And we're so traumatized. We get we connect with these people, but another thing that makes them gatekeepers is you don't know them personally. You know nothing about them, and they know nothing about you, but yet people defend them like it is a family member, because they believe and they want all of this information that they're putting out to be so true. And I have a book, it's called The Finders. It's really good. I highly suggest it. But they do research on like all these people that are really awake, and they have different like categories for them. I wouldn't say levels, it's categories. But the ones that are like in the category 6 that are really awake, the two things that I noticed, it says that they forget the stories. They do not believe in the stories anymore. And then the second was that they see in 2D. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if I hadn't had Morgellons and all this weird stuff, I could totally see how the 2D thing, and it still might be, I don't know, but I think that this is all engineered, but I could see how people would see that way. I've projected things out and done all kinds of cool stuff. And I would really like, for everybody, we could get so far, and I just see so much possibility for humanity. But we won't ever get there if we keep being stuck in belief and the hopium thing. And yeah, it takes us to come together, and I really hope that we do. But I'm going to have a live chat at 6 p.m., so I hope to see whoever can make it there. Thank you.